Hello, and welcome back to Little Liana's lecture, where we learn something new every day. Today, we are going to take a look at Gloria Anzaldua. After doing a basic Google search, you can find out that she was born on September 26, 1942 in southern Texas. On Wikipedia, yes, I know, a very critical source. However, you can find out that she graduated as valedictorian from Edinburgh in 1962. She also went on to get a Master of Arts English education at the University of Texas at Austin. She later went to live in Santa Cruz, California. She passed away in 2004 from diabetes, but lived a long, impactful life of 62 years. During her life, she accomplished many things. She was the author of many books, poems, as well as an active member of the LGBTQ+ and feminist community. Growing up, she had to face many trials and obstacles to get where she was. Being a Chicana of Latinx and Spanish-speaking culture was one obstacle she faced most frequently in her lifetime. In an article, Writing Politics, Las Paradas, Platicando con Gloria Anzaldua, she explains the problem she faced. I had gone through a frustrating time when the middle-class white women, who were the heads of writing groups and writing organizations that I was involved in, the Feminist Writers Guild, and the Women's Writers Union. In grad school, I had been virtually ignored and told who I was. Nobody wanted to listen to what I had to say. I felt invisible. When I left Austin in '77 and went to San Francisco, the same thing happened. I would be the only Chicana. These women's organizations were on the one hand saying, "How do you define yourself?" But before I could even open my mouth, they start defining who I was. She later goes on to state that she met someone who understood how she felt, a lady named Merlin, who was also the encouragement behind her work in this bridge. Coming from a Latinx and Spanish-speaking background has its challenges. In today's world, racism is still apparent. It shows both in little ways and absurd ways, whether it's something as drastic as murder, or something you could overlook, like someone assuming you are unable to do something, or be taken seriously because of the color of your skin, or be taken seriously based on what language you can and cannot speak. Gloria Anzaldua wrote of her upbringing and hardships she faced for being Chicana, from childhood to adulthood. In her book, How to Tame a Wild Tongue, she talks about getting in trouble for telling a teacher the proper way to pronounce her name. From that early age, she had to learn how to suppress who she was as an individual and as a group. Her culture, her ancestry, all had to be hidden so that others could feel more comfortable. So, in How to Tame a Wild Tongue, she wrote in Spanish to make the reader, if they did not know the language, feel uncomfortable in the fact that they do not understand what it is that they are reading, and it took more effort for them to be able to understand. Most of her work had a common theme, being stuck in the middle. Her work shows the constant struggle she faced throughout most of her life, the feeling that she was in the middle of two worlds, but had no place in either. Being a part of the feminist groups that consisted of mostly white women, she felt as though she did not belong. Also, being mushed into the Spanish-speaking category, being Chicana made her different from other Spanish-speaking cultures like Portuguese. This theme of being stuck in the middle also has a presence in many of her other works, where she explored the different sides of societal issues and the different sides she found within herself. In a world where young adults being a part of movement shows promise, Gloria Anzaldua was someone to aspire to be. She was actively a part of the LGBTQ+ community. In an article from the Legacy Project, we find that Anzaldua was adamant about the limiting quality of labels and against all things that separated people. She was one of the first to champion the otherness of the queer movement. She was also the recipient of numerous accolades and awards. In a Project Muse article, it talks about how Anzaldua spoke up about violence against women. Attending philosophically to the problem of violence against women in particular, Anzaldua's thoughts shows us how the ways in which we discuss the trauma or human rights abuses of others discloses our proximity and also distance, and so our relevance to the issues, thereby showing us how we might act in terms of getting closer to these issues in order to effectively challenge them. This article states that in her writing, she is trying to bring the issue of violence against women to light, so that way she can spark a movement through her readers. She also fought against racism in her work, bringing up the obvious divisions of races or misunderstanding and mixing of Spanish-speaking groups. Having a Hispanic or Latinx umbrella, where there was indeed a difference in culture and language of the groups within the umbrella. She was also openly known as lesbian, as well as a member of many feminist groups. Because of her work, she moved everyone, regardless of racial, cultural background, or sexual orientation. The Progressive article states that Anzaldua's work, particularly her groundbreaking This Bridge Called My Back, which she co-edited with Shuri Moraga, and her book Borderlands, transformed how a generation thought about and understood issues of identity, history, culture, and sexuality. Also in the Gloria Anzaldua Reader, the author states, "Whenever I listen to my students or other readers engage in Gloria Anzaldua's writings, whether they're discussing her poetry, fiction, or prose, I am struck by the profound ways which her words resonate with so many different people. Not with everyone, of course, but with a surprisingly wide range." Anzaldua's work spoke to people who came from the same, and also people who came from dramatically different backgrounds from herself. She was indeed an inspirational author, who was gone all too soon. Several institutions offer awards in her name. Also, the Society for the Study of Gloria Anzaldua was established in 2007 to continue to carry on her legacy and study her work. Having all this said, Gloria has taught us not to let cultural, ethnic, financial, or sexual backgrounds affect us and what we can do with our lives. She is an inspiration to chase your dreams and to not let anyone define who you are. This concludes my lecture. I hope you found this very informative. Hasta luego, and have a good day.